Oh dear, Donald, sighed the Fat Controller. How could this have happened? I am sorry, sir, but it wasn't my fault, said Donald. I didn't see the points were set against me until it was too late. I understand, Donald, said the Fat Controller, but I will need to talk to the signalman about this. In the meantime, I'll call for the breakdown crew to come and get you out of here. Aye, thank you, sir. Gordon was watching from the station. Fancy crashing into another signal box, Donald. Why, you'd never catch me acting so reckless. Ugh, hey, go find another ditch to fall in. Oh, the audacity, muttered Gordon. Soon after, Duck arrived with a breakdown crane to help Donald. Thank you for coming to help on such short notice, Duck. Oh, it's no problem at all, sir. Very good. Now, Duck, I'd like you to take this goods train up to Owlsboro Harbor. Donald was meant to take it, but as you can see, he clearly no longer can. Of course, sir, said Duck, and with that, he left. Now I shall need to focus on finding another engine to do your work. If I may, sir, it's just my tender that's out of commission. If we had a spare, then I could still carry on with my work. Why, that's brilliant, Donald, said the Fat Controller. I'll call the steamworks to see if we have a spare one available for you. Aye, thank you, sir. I don't much fancy being cooped up in the works anyway. Later in the afternoon, the mess had nearly been cleaned up when Norman arrived alongside Donald. Hey, hello, Norman. Hello, Donald. I've brought your spare tender from Crovan's Gate. Thanks, lad. I'm about ready to get out of this siding. Oh, I could help you with that, replied Norman. He reversed and buffered up to Donald, and then moved him onto the other line. Donald was quickly coupled up to the new tender. Thank you for bringing the spare, Norman, said the Fat Controller. Now, could you please take Donald's tender and the crane back up to the steamworks? Oh, yes, of course, sir, replied Norman. And the diesel made his way back to Crovan's Gate. As Norman left, Gordon arrived with the return journey of the express. Surveying Donald, he stopped at the signal outside the station. Oh my, Donald, whatever is that dragging behind you? That'd be my replacement tender. Oh really? Well, I thought it was an oversized coal truck. Donald huffed away indignantly. Later that evening, the engines were talking in the sheds. I can't be the only one that heard about what happened at Tidmouth this morning, chuckled Gordon. Aye, and what of it? I didn't hear anything, said Henry. I've been working the east side of the main line today. Why don't we all ask Donald? Put in James, and as if on cue, the Scottish twin rolled back into the shed. Still not entirely sure on that style change of yours, Donald. Are you all right now, Donald? Asked Bear. That crash looks quite nasty this morning when I passed through. I am fine now. Spare tender's doing its job. What exactly happened this morning? Donald went and crashed his tender into another signal box just like back in '59. And by the looks of things, it looks like his tender's going to be in the works for a while. I say, Donald, you must be more surveillant while working in the yards. Or perhaps just leave the shunting to the tank engines. Oh, yes indeed, James. Hey, would the two of you give it a rest already? All right, you two, I think that's enough, said Bear. And don't forget, we've all had our fair share of accidents. Aye, thank you, Bear. And with that, the conversation subsided. The next few days continued on as normal, and Donald carried on with his work. Aside from it not being able to hold as much water, Donald still had no issues with the tender. It allowed him to stay in service and continue working. A week had gone by, and one morning, Billy was shunting at Tidmouth Station. He had prepared Gordon's express coaches before beginning to shunt another goods train. At that moment, Donald pulled in with some trucks from the lumberyard. Hello, Donald, called Billy. Oh, Donald, I see you've got your normal tender back, said Hector. Aye, I just got it back this morning. Feels good to be running normally again. Oh, I'm sure, replied Billy. Glad it's been repaired. Right, Billy, I'm all ready to go. On it, Hector, Billy replied. And then he started to push Hector onto the other line. At that moment, however, Gordon was reversing onto his coaches. Look out, Gordon, called Hector, but it was already too late. Oh, Billy, what are you playing at? What am I playing at? Remarked Billy. This was my line. Nonsense, replied Gordon. That's the express line. At that moment, Oliver pulled in with a passenger train. Oh my goodness, what's happened here? I would like to know the same thing, said the Fat Controller, exiting one of the coaches. Now, what exactly has happened here? I was trying to back down onto my express coaches, sir, said Gordon, but Billy and his lumbering coal truck got in my way. Actually, sir, put in Billy, I was using this line to shunt Henry's goods train, and Gordon wasn't due for the express for another half hour. Aye, you showed up a bit too early, Gordon. I was just trying to show up on time, sir. On time doesn't mean too early, Gordon, said the Fat Controller, and now we shall have to have your tender repaired as well. But I know just the replacement. Without his own, Gordon was now using the spare tender. And I think he's learned his lesson. Don't you?